What's up, cinephiles? My name is TJ, and welcome to the Cinemateq Weekly News Wrap-Up. You may hear some running water and some thunder behind me. That's because there's a storm. We're also going to be running through all these stories pretty quick because I need to get to a bar so I can watch the Raptors game tonight. The first bit of news I want to talk about is that Miramax is for sale. The behing Media Group, who purchased Miramax in 2016, have been getting some offers, some interesting questions from interesting parties who are like, hey man, do you want to sell Miramax? And behing's like, well, yeah, kinda, a bit. Reports are that Miramax is now worth about $650 million, and the behing Media Group wants to give up no more than 50% of the company, so they're looking to still stay in control of the studio while also making some of that sweet, sweet movie cash. So if you have a spare $325 million that you want to spend on a movie studio, maybe consider Miramax. Odds are that the companies sniffing around are making some kind of long-term play for streaming service rights. We know that Disney used to own Miramax, and we also know that they have a controlling stake in Hulu and their own Disney Plus services, so it would make a lot of sense for them to put a little money back into the company that they used to own so they can get some of that sweet, sweet streaming content on their platforms. Good guy Netflix has announced that it is partnering with 3 Indigenous cultural organizations in Canada. The initiative is part of the 5-year plan that Netflix announced in order to enrich and to bring forward new talent in Canada to the tune of $25 million over that time span. The 3 organizations, Imagine Native, Wapakoni Mobile, and the Indigenous Screen Organization, will have access to some of that funds, although it's unclear as to how much of that $25 million pot they're going to be able to draw down from. Now, one of the great things about this initiative from Netflix, at least in the case of these 3 organizations, is that Netflix isn't taking exclusive rights over what is produced from the funds that they're giving up. They don't have first look, they don't have exclusivity, they don't have any of that. So this really just seems to be a goodwill gesture by Netflix. Now, the more cynical amongst you might be asking, why would a multi-billion-dollar corporation be doing something like this? And odds are it plays into Netflix's overall strategy of trying to not be regulated by the CRTC in Canada. And if you're wondering what the CRTC is, it's kind of Canada's way of making sure that our culture doesn't get overrun by stuff from south of the border. You know, those guys. Even though Netflix doesn't have first look or exclusive rights on the things that are going to be created with this money, there is still a good chance that these organizations will come to Netflix with these ideas. And that's too bad because, as we all know, if Netflix puts out your original work, it's no longer a movie, it's a TV movie, and it's no longer eligible for Oscars or awards at film festivals. It can only get Emmys. Now, here at Cinemateq, we feel very strongly about this, but we never want to name names when it comes to this discussion. It just seems useless to smear people, especially when they have such high standings in the cinema community. That said, please do not look any further into the fact that this next story is about how Steven Spielberg allegedly screwed Michael Douglas out of a Best Acting Award at Cannes in 2013 because the film that Michael Douglas was in was funded by HBO. In a recent interview with Benicio del Toro, Michael Douglas revealed how he felt that his acting award for the film Behind the Candelabra was squashed by Steven Spielberg at the 2013 iteration of the Cannes Film Festival. That year, Steven Spielberg was the president of the competition jury, and so he would have the power to do something like that. This also falls in line with Spielberg's recent behavior, as he has been campaigning in Hollywood that films made with Netflix money or Hulu money should be nominated for Emmys instead of Oscars because they're just TV movies. There's a lot of ridiculous stuff in this story, but what is most ridiculous is that this film was actually shopped around to every major Hollywood film studio, and they all passed on it because of its homosexual subject matter. Add on to that the fact that the film was released theatrically in every territory besides the United States and probably Canada. And if you want to get really into the weeds with this, it was directed by filmmaker Steven Soderbergh. But no, the fact that HBO put money into it when no one else would, that makes it a TV movie, and therefore Michael Douglas shouldn't get an award for it. It makes a lot of sense, don't you think? Now, if you think that I've sounded a little angry in this episode of Cinemateq, it's not going to end anytime soon because the film Rocketman will not be screened in Samoa because censors there think it's too gay. Deadline reported that the film was being banned from Samoa, quoting the censor that the film did not mix with the cultural and Christian beliefs of the country. The country's censor, who is presumably the only person in all of Samoa who has actually seen the film, admitted that it's actually pretty good, but then walked back a bit and said that there were things in the film that were not appropriate for public viewing. And as a general side note for context, homosexual acts are illegal in Samoa, so sadly this is not a surprising thing for the country to do, but it does serve as an unpleasant reminder that we still have a lot of work to do in fighting for and winning LGBTQ rights all across the world. That's all the industry news I want to talk about. We've got one story from the festival circuit that I think merits some attention. For this one, we have to go all the way to Australia to the Sydney Film Festival, where the new film The Nightingale caused quite a stir. As of the writing of the articles that I'm referencing for this piece, the film had debuted on Sunday and then had another screening on Monday, and apparently people were walking out in droves. We have not seen the film because, as far as I know, it's only been shown at Venice so far and the Sydney Film Festival, although I'm sure it's been seen at maybe a couple of other places. But the subject matter of the film is actually quite disturbing. The film focuses on a period of colonization in Tasmania around 1825, where there were numerous atrocities committed against the Indigenous population as well as women in general. The film goes into graphic detail showing all of this happening. Apparently, the main character in the film within the first half an hour is raped several times, and it is shown in graphic detail. The audiences who were taking in the film on Sunday apparently didn't really know what they were getting in for, and as soon as they started seeing history played out as it apparently happened, they decided that they didn't want any of it, and a lot of them just left. During the Sunday screening, one woman apparently walked out and shouted, "I'm not going to watch this. I've already seen her raped twice." Obviously, the reactions of the people watching the film were quite severe, and when it came to the Q&A afterwards, the director got pummeled by questions. The director, Jennifer Kent, who made her feature debut with The Babadook, responded to the questions by saying, "This is what happened." And in a press release that came out on Monday, insisted that they could have actually gone further, but decided that no one would want to watch that film. So the images that you are seeing, while terrible and horrendous and apparently historically accurate, didn't even show the worst of what actually happened. I wanted to bring up the crowd's reaction to this film and then the director's comments defending it as a way of getting into a larger conversation about history in cinema and how it's depicted. Should we have films be historically accurate to the point where they are uncomfortable to the audience, or should we have films like Danny Boyle's Steve Jobs that take history, condense it, and map it onto actual events that happened in order to show character traits, or is this just something that we leave up to the director, to the artist, to figure out the best way of expressing how they want to look at a particular subject? I think there's a lot of nuance, a lot of gray area in this subject, and I'd be really interested to hear what your thoughts are. Do films have a duty to be historically accurate, or is it okay for them to play with subject matter in a way that makes them more palatable for an audience? Let us know what you think in the comments below. All right, everyone, it's almost beer o'clock, so I'm gonna be going through these last ones a little. Oh dear, just burped. It's already beer o'clock, yeah. I'm drunk. All right, I've gotta run, so let's just get through the fucking. I got it though.
All right, TJ, you gotta run, so let's just get through this, put it right into my eyes section.
Thanks, Emily. We're going to start off with Taika Waititi's first short film, 2 Cars, 1 Night, that was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Short Film. It is now available on YouTube. It's about 50 minutes long. Take a little bit of time out of your day and go check it out. You know Taika Waititi because he was in What We Do With Shadows. He also directed a film called Boy that I recommend you watch, and he also did that Marvel film called Thor Ragnarok, which a lot of people thought was kind of okay. Next, Jordan Peele has given all of his praise to Ari Aster's new horror film Midsommar, which will be coming out in about midsummer. The film shows a pagan cult doing all kinds of pagan culty type things. The trailers have been fantastic, and Ari Aster's previous film was Hereditary, which I personally loved. So now that Jordan Peele is giving it a stamp of approval, I want to put it in my eyes right now. That's why we call this section that. Anyways, next one. Remember that time we talked about the Cinema Club on this channel? Probably not, because we only have 15 subscribers. But I'm gonna link to the video right here, or right here. I'm new to this, I don't know what I'm doing. The Cinema Club has finally relaunched, and the first film, Claire Denis' Keep It To Yourself, is available to view. In the article that I'm linking to below, you'll be able to check out all of the short films that will be premiering on the service within the next couple of months. The next one up is the Chris Marker film that I talked about. The name escapes me because I am so anxious and stressed out right now because of this stupid Raptors game. But I suggest you go over to the Cinema Club, check out Claire Denis' short film, Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and we can have a conversation about it, because that's the whole point of Cinemateq, having conversations about cinema. And with that, please subscribe to the channel, like this video. I really have to go. I'm just gonna walk out of here right now, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.